Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? My name is Carolina Chavez, and I am broadcasting live from Miami. Today is Wednesday, July 22nd of 2020. Okay, so today we are going to speak about some options about second-hand online shopping. We've been talking about it since the last couple of weeks, and I want to really insist on how important this is, not only environmentally but also on the wallet. Right now, one of the main aspects of this new normal is that the economy has been hit all over the world and in so many ways, and I think that everybody has been impacted by this. So secondhand clothing, it's a great way for us to get new clothes at much affordable prices, new for us because they are secondhand, but in great conditions, and also to make some extra money through all of these platforms. So I encourage you to explore. I'm going to give you some examples, but there are plenty out there that will accommodate to everybody's needs, let's say regionally, or for specific types of clothes that we need, or for children, or for a lot of stuff. You will see. Forbes wrote very recently that even as the retail industry has slumped, dragged down by disappointment, earnings, and an unending trade war, resale is exploding. Okay, this is a huge industry, huge, all over the place. Now there's this company called ThredUp. They annually send a report. They do secondhand, of course. So they analyze the whole market, and this recent report that they launched at the beginning of the year, right before the pandemic blew up, and we're going to explore this report in another episode. But just to have an idea, they reported that secondhand market is set to hit the $64 billion in the next 5 years. Okay. So ThredUp is a company that's based in San Francisco that launched in 2009, originally as a men's shirt swap company, but now they deal also with women's and kids' secondhand clothing, only women and kids. They're probably one of the biggest online thrift stores with over 2 million items, around 35,000 brands. Okay, this is huge, from Gap to Gucci and everything in between. They're not necessarily the source for vintage, but they offer a little bit of everything else, and their purchasing site works just like any other thing, but their selling process is really it works really well. All the clothes that they sell are very high quality, and they usually list. This is very, very good for us. They list on the products the type of fabric that is used, so we can choose organic fabrics, natural fabrics, and all of that. We can also, like an added value, not only secondhand, but also fabrics that are not harmful for the environment, or not that harmful. You can also on ThredUp return your items. This is very important because some of the options that I'm going to offer to you, they don't take returns. But even if they take returns, is also very important for us to really check on the things that we want to buy, because when we return things, we also contribute to carbon emissions. Okay, so if we are able just to keep whatever we buy, that's the best option. Also, one thing that they have very interesting is that they ship in cardboard and tissue paper, keeping things totally plastic free. So I've had experiences that I buy from a sustainable brand, a responsible brand, and when things arrive, they're wrapped in plastic. So it's a bummer, because you're trying to do the right thing, but then they send you all of this plastic, so that doesn't work really well. ThredUp also works for us to sell. So if you want to sell with them, you have to do the process, and they will sell you a kit. It's a big bag and then you put your clothes in there, you return it to the store for free, and they photograph your stuff and they put it on mannequins so you can see how the clothes are going to look when you start selling, when people start shopping. And when you start selling, they give you the chance to earn your money back or use it as a credit for the store. Anything not accepted will be returned or will be responsibly recycled, which is also a very good thing for us. And if you don't want to have a store credit or you don't want the money back, you can choose an organization where they will donate some of the profit of what you sold with them. They also have a great space for extra for plus sizes and petite sizes, and it's one of the most affordable options right now if you're looking for online cheap thrift clothes. Okay, we also have eBay, which is a global e-commerce leader and connects millions of buyers and sellers operating in around 190 markets around the world. So eBay, you have to see if some of the sellers will allow returns. Okay, you buy from like individual persons or like small companies in between the whole structure, so you have to check on these details. If they allow returns, you can make a note to them not to send you products wrapped in plastic and details like that, which are very important. So they also have a few awards on diversity and inclusion and are members of the Dow Jones Sustainability Index. So this is a great company that we can work with, and it is global, so that gives us a great advantage. This is an advantage because if you are, let's say, in California, you can find sellers that are around your area, and this will save also carbon emissions at the time of transporting items from place to place. So this is also one thing that we must consider when we place orders online. The next option we have is the Vestiaire collection. This is an online thrifting shop for vintage and high-end clothing and accessories. They were founded in France in 2009 with the ambition to bring the luxury second-hand clothing back into circulation instead of having it just sitting in your wardrobe. Their global platform online is now global, with over 7 million members around the world in 50 countries, Europe, America, Asia, Australia. And they offer a huge range of designers of vintage women's clothing, as well as thrifting options for men, kids, bags, watches, jewelry, shoes, and athletic gears and accessories. They offer one of the widest ranges of beautiful vintage designer clothing online and that are widely available around the world. This is another good thing. Their products all include the location again, so you can shop locally, and the prices vary from item to item, but because it's a luxury shop, there's definitely higher prices, but for sure you can find some bargains around the store. They also, as many luxury brands, have products. You can find products that use animal fur materials. So this is controversial because some brands and some people, they completely, it's a no-no to use animal products or materials in clothing. But when you are buying second-hand, this was already used. Okay, so it's different than if you're buying a product that was just made with fur. That's a big no-no. But if it was already done, then that's a whole other story. At least that's what I think, but everybody thinks different. Our next option is called Luxury Garage Sale. It's a designer online thrift store based in Chicago, and they were founded in 2018 with the purpose of selling curated, authentic, pre-owned clothing and accessories from top brands around the world. They do offer luxury brands of second-hand clothing, shoes, bags, and jewelry, but you can get around 80% sometimes of discounts in this item, so also very good bargains. What they use is the consignment model. This is, if you want to sell with them, this means that you give them your items, you specify a time, a period of time that they will keep your items, and if they sell it, then they give you part of the profits. If they don't sell it, they give it back to you. They don't own the pieces, okay? So if you use this consignment model, they will send you a prepaid shipping label, and in some cases, if you are close to where they are located, they will pick up your items. This is one of the best US thrift stores because it offers a huge and affordable range of luxury online thrifting, especially if you look through their clearance section, okay? Also, one of the interesting things is that they offer complimentary stylists to ensure that each piece is inspected and verified by in-house experts as authentic. There's a lot of counterfeit, so many of these options have people inside of their company that make sure that whatever they're selling is really the brand they say they're selling, okay? Because you cannot send a Gucci bag that's a fake and sell it through them. They will, some of these companies are really strict on this, and they will inspect, and they will go through this process for free for the sellers, but they ensure that you're buying really the brand that they say you're buying. So there's another option called Patagonia Worn Wear. I like this very much. It's a thrift store for the adventures, okay, for the outdoor sports and things like that. So Worn Wear is like a brand of the Patagonia. Patagonia is the main company, and they do sell clothes for the outdoors. Worn Wear is they sell Patagonia's clothes, but second hand, okay? So the second hand clothes that you buy are gently worn, and you can find for women, for men, for kids, and but reduced prices. So among the outdoors stores or companies that sell clothes, this company is one of the cutting edge, probably the best in terms of sustainable clothing, in terms of corporate responsibility. They're really remarkable. So also this program of selling secondhand, it's supported by the reputation the company already has. They do, they're honest, which is a good thing for all of us, and they say that they will never be completely socially responsible, and they will never make a totally sustainable, non-damaging product, but the company is committed to trying. This is very important for us to know, because when we hear we're completely sustainable, we're completely responsible, there's something that we need to find out or dig deeper, because just making something new, it's using resources. So 100% sustainable is really not how it works, okay? We can take into consideration as a company many aspects of the sustainability spectrum, like the use of water, like the social aspect, fair trade, many of them. But always when we are producing something new, we are using resources. So 100% sustainable is not necessarily the truth, okay? They use Patagonia. They use mostly organic cotton and recycled polyester in their choices of fabric. So when you return, they have this ironclad guarantee that it means that you can send to them the items that you want, that you bought from Patagonia, and they will repair them and send them back to you. If the items are not repairable, they will keep them and they will recycle, okay? So this is a great way for items to live longer, because again, you know of the reputation of the company already, of how from the beginning they're making their clothes, so they also help you to, you know, give more life to these items. If you don't want to get to receive back your item, they can give you credits, and you know, it's a really amazing way for us to recycle, to use secondhand for the outdoors. You know, there's very few companies that do this, and with the responsibility of Patagonia. So this is a great option. Another option that I have here is ASOS Marketplace. ASOS, the main company, it's an online thrift store based in the UK, but they sell. ASOS is a very responsible company. Okay, they take into consideration many sustainability aspects, but their ASOS Marketplace, a branch of the main company, they specifically deal with vintage women and men clothes online. Okay, this is a place for independent designers, vintage boutiques, consignment again, and thrift shop. Here you cannot sell as an individual. You can, if you have a boutique, if you have a company that sells vintage or second hand, then you can get into their platform and sell your stuff as a selling boutique through their platform, but not individually. But you can buy from their platforms, absolutely. So another good thing about ASOS Marketplace is that they model their clothes in real women, like a whole range of diverse sizes and body types. And also you can shop by era, from the 60s, 70s until the 90s. And they also have a very clear policy on the use of animal material in their products. As I said, they have a main company, so for the main company they don't use animal materials, but you might find on second-hand or vintage clothes some animal materials. As I said, this is an option for all of us to take, but you know, the materials were already used, no? So if this is the first time you're going to make a garment and you're going to use animals, then that's a big no-no. Okay. The next option we have is Etsy. So their model is like you build your small business into their platform. It works as subasta. How do you sell that? You set a price, and then people are betting on the price. So you know, it's kind of like the way it works. The reviews are taken very seriously. So also they have a policy of integrity for the seller. You can be sure that what you're buying is what they say you're buying, because for some people, mostly new is different as to other people. So you send they take into consideration this very strictly. Also, one thing very interesting about Etsy is that they offset 100% of their shipping emissions. What does this mean? When during the shipping process, carbon emissions are produced, okay? So when they say they offset, means that they have a way to calculate how many emissions they're producing when they're shipping all over the place. So offset means that they're going to do something in contrast of that. Some organizations offer, for example, to plant trees to save on this aspect or the other. So whatever they're producing in carbon emissions on their shipping, they're offsetting. They are giving back, let's say, to the environment. Okay, so the harm is not that harmful, let's say. Another option here we have is the Urban Outfitters Vintage. The Urban Outfitters is not a company that necessarily focuses on sustainability or ethical fashion, but they have this arm that's called their Urban Renewal, that has a great range of curated collections of original vintage items and vintage that has been carefully selected and redesigned and upcycled into modern garments. Okay, they are a very affordable option. They also have a range of online stores available in the US, Europe, Canada, and Australia, and they're really affordable. So you don't sell through them, but you can buy, okay, the Urban Outfitters secondhand through their Urban Renewal arm. Okay. Here we have another option. It's called Rebag. Rebag is a designer online thrift store dedicated to luxury bags. They offer every possible bag style imaginable, from backpacks to professional totes to the computer bag, everything you can find. Their focus is bags for women. So they allow you to sell also your bags through them, so they keep, the life of the bag, lasting longer. And they have a huge range of brands, because they take a lot of designer bags, from very top brands to lower. So they're huge. They have a huge selection. Okay, they encourage the ongoing reuse of the bags in existence already through their Infinity Exchange program. So you can this allows you to return your bag after 12 months, and they give you straight credit, store credit, around 70 to 80%, that you can use towards next purchase. Okay, we have a next option. Is called about Refashioneer, which is a company that focuses on high quality vintage clothing. While some of the designers' vintage pieces like Miu Miu or Fendi are understandably a bit pricier, many of the vintage items are very reasonable for the market. So not only the pieces are really vintage, but they provide the story behind each piece. This is beautiful, because every time you buy something, you find out about an anecdote or an experience that the previous owner had with the specific bag that you want to buy. So this gives a different sense or a different life to the items that you're buying. So they have a very meticulous quality control, because again, you want to make sure, you want to be sure that you're actually buying the brand that the company is offering to you. Okay, and also they have this search engine that helps you find since the 1940s vintage clothing. This is amazing. So they are passionate about finding the unethical sourcing in the industry and preserving the now dying nature of vintage. Okay, because they say that nothing that it's been done right now is gonna last as vintage clothes. Nothing. Everything we are doing right now, or mostly, is gonna last 2-3 years if we're lucky, if it's really, really well done. But with this fast fashion thing going on, I mean, if we get really lucky, we can use something for 2-3 times. So they are creating the end of this era, of this use of vintage clothing. So I think this is pretty remarkable. We have another option called a Poshmark, that it's this is geared towards more the modern side. Okay, they have over 25 million pieces across over 5,000 brands. So in terms of the selection, Poshmark is a winner, and they have also everything from Forever 21 to Prada. They also encourage bargaining, which is kind of like Etsy does. Okay, so here you put a price, and then the platform encourages to come back and forth with with the prices of your clothes. So yeah, it's like a bargaining platform, okay? You can also like the items if you want to be notified about price drops, and score some deals by bundling several items from the same seller, and so you can get discounts. Poshmark's app is super easy to use. Okay, you take a picture, you post it, and basically you're already selling. So if from a seller's perspective, this maximizes the profit a lot. So generally, depending on the brand, sellers can fetch good prices for their wares, oftentimes upwards 50%, okay? But the downside is that Poshmark takes 25% of the sales of each sale. So you have to evaluate if it's good for you and use it or not. So they have Poshmark, a loyal following in the US with growing communities of thrifting fashionistas, and also in the UK, in Australia. So again, there's many options. We need to find what's closer to home because of two, I think, main aspects. One is the if you can return items, and the other one is the carbon emission. So if you have to bring something from the other side of the world, that's not necessarily sustainable. We want to be sustainable by buying second-hand clothes, but if we're bringing them from the other side of the world, then it's not really working out. We have another option, the Real. This is a model that's revolutionizing the resale market, okay? They started this company, the CEO from her home, and she was driving around the homes around the area in the U-Haul, like getting all the clothes from the people around, and that's how she started doing this consignment also way, okay, by getting the clothes and selling them, with this model. So this is a company with millions of shoppers around the world and consigners, and with stores in New York, LA, San Francisco, and 10 luxury consignment offices across the country, 4 of which are in the stores. So they have women, men, kids, and jewelry, watches, everything. So I wanted to comment you about something. I found this post on Facebook about the Real. So there's one of the users, or users. They posted a comment about how is it that you're selling luxury and it's sustainable. Like it didn't make sense to them, and they say, please explain. Like, nice try, no? Please explain how many of them are fair trade. About the carbon emissions and all of these things. So because many of the brands that they're selling are not necessarily sustainable brands. So how can the Real say they are a sustainable company or a responsible company? So the company responded that they are proud to keep 13.9 million luxury items in circulation, and they saved already 660 million liters of water. When an item is produced from zero, all of these resources are used, okay? So when an item is kept into circulation longer, it's given a longer life, all of these resources that were used are not reused again, okay? Without a doubt, there's other resources that are being used. For example, I remember ThredUp also had some controversy a few years ago, because when they take your clothes, of course they clean them, right? So people would say that they were the biggest dry cleaning company, no? And of course the resources they use, the soap, the water, everything they use, but of course it causes also emissions and waste, but they are giving new life to items that on the other hand would go to waste, would go to landfills, would be incinerated, will be shipped as not the ones that are in very good conditions, but some of these items get shipped to other countries, poor countries, and they sometimes they don't know what to do. It's too much for them, so they put it in landfills and they incinerate them, so also causing pollution to countries that are even in a more disadvantaged position than developed countries like the United States. So we have to, I think we have to dig deep and take into consideration also what's more important for us from a company, if it's carbon emissions, if it's water, if it's a social aspect, and if we can look for more and more of these responsible aspects from one company, okay? So last but not least, I have another option for you. It's called redress. I interviewed Rosana Secato a few months ago. She's the founder of this company. The option she gives you is that you, through a subscription, it has different levels, but through a subscription you give some of your clothes and you get clothes. You give one and you get one, and through the subscription I think it's like every 3 items per month, something like that. But you can also give, for example, a gown, like a night gown, and you can get one. They also have a very good standard of quality, so you know what you know that you're gonna get in return a good piece of clothing, okay? And it's a very easy way and a very fast way to exchange clothes that are in mint condition and that you don't no longer use. Maybe we can all relate to this. We have a dress in our wardrobe that we used for a party 3 years ago, and it's just sitting there. So this is a great option for us to give that dress and get a new one, kind of, right? So we don't pay a regular price the next time we're gonna use a nice dress. So we're gonna speak about next week about the ThredUp report. It's very interesting. It has amazing numbers. A little shocking, okay, because not only the secondhand industry is really taking off, but also why it's so vital for us to shift our mind. Secondhand clothing is not for the poor anymore, okay? It does help the wallet without a doubt, but it also helps the environment, which is also one of our main concerns right now. I think we are all familiar with that. So thank you for being with me. Please subscribe to my mailing list on my page, mariaarrieta.net. Every Tuesday I send an email with all the resources of what we talk about on the broadcast. So next week's email is going to have all of these links of all of these companies that we spoke about. But again, there's many options, so please do your research and find out what's closer to you so we can start thrifting and having fun. Thank you so much, okay? I'll see you next week.